Oh yeah, Chris, I changed the intro. That's why I asked you for photos.
Yeah, I saw that. Kind of figured.
I was playing around with trying to make it so for a little bit of perspective, guys. I was originally trying to use the vertical live stream because it was supposed to give me more views, but all
Oh,
it does is just makes us small, and I didn't get any more views than I did with the horizontal. So we're gonna be wide this way.
there you go.
So, guys, we are here to talk about the dirty, nasty, disgusting word that has ruined fishing forever.
Live scope. Ah!
It's the cheater box, and Uncle Randy, I'm sure, is going to write me a strongly worded email and be very angry with me. But part of the reason I wanted to do this is because, as someone who, it's funny because this year specifically, 2025, I went from barely using down imaging, and I decided to just jump into the new kayak and just upgrade the electronics at the same time. And the things that I learned made me even more confused about the hatred for this technology because, like, I'll tell you right now, and I've said this a bunch of times, but I have still yet to find the setting that makes the 5-pounders just jump into my kayak. It doesn't.
Please let me know.
Yeah, there's no like
That's
button on
the
there that says call
yeah,
the
it
fish
is.
to
It's
me.
a hidden. It's the hidden Randy B button.
Yeah, I think the biggest benefit, in my opinion, just to start right off, is things that I've learned is I am more effective with baits like a jerk bait, for example. And I don't know if Chris has noticed this, but like the difference between fishing a jerk bait blindly and throwing it out, twitch, wait, see what happens, is you'll get behavior. And that's, I think, the biggest point that I want to bring up in this video is that I can count on, I've maybe caught 10 fish using it cast to catch, but I have identified perch when I thought it was bass. I have identified they don't seem to want the bait moved, they want it dead sticked. Things like that is what I have benefited from having the technology more than just like, oh, there's a fish, I'm going to cast to it and he's going to magically just want to eat whatever I throw at him.
Right.
I mean, all it's doing is it's literally a tool to help identify a little bit better what's going on under the water that you can't see.
Yep.
Honestly, is no different when you're bed fishing and you're dropping a Ned in front of a pissed off smallmouth and you're watching how it reacts. It's no different than that. It's just in 30 plus feet of water where you can't see. So this is helping you see that. And again, I've always been a proponent for live scope and all that sort of stuff. I don't personally use it. Hell, I don't even use the electronics. Period. But that doesn't mean that I wouldn't one day. It also doesn't mean I'm not, it also doesn't mean that I'm going to shit on somebody who is using it. Okay. It's a tool.
Yep.
You know, if it was that magical, every single pro in the Elite Series, every single pro in MLF would have a 5-bag limit of giant fish every single time.
Right.
And there are dudes that go out there that skunk with the live scope. So it's just, let's be real.
Yeah.
Well, who was it? I can't remember who it was, but there was a pro the other day that won that $500,000 pot.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
The ultimate.
Half-ounce flipping jig is what he
Yep.
won that on.
Yep. And that was the Ultimate Angler tournament.
Right.
He's actually won a couple of those.
And he was one of the ones that they were saying he won't be able to catch any fish without live scope. He doesn't know
he
how
didn't
to
even
fish.
he didn't even use regular. I think he said he just turned off his electronics and went out flipping.
I'm pretty sure what I heard was he caught it on a half-ounce flipping jig and a spinnerbait.
Yep. That's exactly right.
Like, you just can't get any more
the bank and
old
beating the
school.
Grass. Yeah, exactly.
Like that is as old school fishing gets.
Yep, sure is.
But Chris, I have to ask. So your way of fishing.
Yep.
Did you? Because I had this. This is a question I thought of. Was there any baits that you started fishing because they?
For me, no. But also know that I will have 2 to 4 spinning rods on the kayak every day.
True.
And because when I slow down, that's what I do. So I haven't bought or found the magic bait yet.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I will. The baits I run, I mean, and I fish them exactly the same way as I did. I will say I've been shaking a little more, trying to figure out if I can trigger those ones that swim up to it, watch it, and then they just slowly slide away. I've been shaking more, trying to get one. I got one the other day to bite it that way. Like he came up to it twice, and then I just started shaking the crap out of it. He bit. I don't know if I just pissed him off or it really worked. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, but you would not have known that if you hadn't been able to see him and see how it,
So, well, yeah, and if I hadn't seen him, I wouldn't have even known there was a fish there.
And you wouldn't have been shaking it or nothing. You would have just, twitched it a couple of times and then dragged it 10 feet and then brought it up and been like, oh, nope, no fish here.
Yep.
That actually, the first fish I caught at Salem, actually the first 2 fish I caught at Salem in that tournament was so tube is that bait for me.
Yep.
And it's because I needed a deep wacky rig. And I hate the Nico rig. I just at that point I'm throwing a Texas rig. To me, it's just a Texas rig hooked in the middle at that point. Like it doesn't do much different when you need to get the weight to get it down deep. So I started throwing a tube, and what I did, the same thing you were just talking about, is I was casting it out because I kind of I fish a tube just like I fish my wacky rig. I cast it out, I let it get all the way to the bottom, I dead stick it for a little bit, I drag it a little bit, and then I pull it out. And when at Salem, I literally casted it out, and the fish came off the bottom, and he watched it, and he stayed pinned to it, and it fell, and he followed it down, and then he just sat there and looked at it on the bottom. And I left it there, and I was like, okay, maybe he's going to scoop it up off the bottom. Right. He didn't. Drag it, and he would follow it. Drag it, he would follow it, but he wouldn't commit. That's when I learned, pump my reel, make it look like it's darting.
Yeah.
And that's when that fish, you trigger that response and that bass, that aggression response. And without having the tool, that entire cast would have gone entirely differently, because I wouldn't have known that there was something in pursuit of my bait. And I wouldn't have known to do that quick. And that's something that I've noticed, is that if you make it, you have to really think about it, but if you make it look like it's fleeing and then pause it, even if they don't bite it, they will chase it.
They will chase it.
They will at least go figure out why it ran away from them.
Right.
And that's where, again, you wouldn't be able to do that with an open water, just being, because I was in 12 feet of water doing that. So it's not like I could see the fish. It's not a visibility thing. It was just straight up. I saw the dot on the screen, wiggled the bait, saw the fish move. The other thing I noticed is it's taught me to either downsize or upsize.
Yep. That's a true statement too.
Because you throw a small Ned, or I've actually thrown the 5-inch wacky, seen the fish look at it, pin, ignore it. Yeah. Pin, ignore it. Drop down to a 3-inch wacky, 3.5, whatever. All of a sudden, they want it. So you kind of get that idea of they're interested, but they're not interested in something about it. The color is off, the size is off, the speed of the fall is off.
Yeah, the size is a unique thing. In the spring, I was having better luck with a 3.5 to 4. Probably 3.5 inch, but the fatter profile paddle tails. And then as the year's gone on, I'm down to the 2 3/4 or 3-inch, but that's real skinny, very small paddle tail or no tail, more of a pin type tail later in the fall. And I don't know if that's a pressure thing or if it's just a bait profile. You would almost think it'd be the other way around, but maybe during the winter, they're feeding on the larger,
Yeah.
And during the fall, they're down back to the small. I don't know.
You would think it would be the opposite, because a lot of times in the spring you have those little fry.
Right.
So you think they'd be going for the little ones in the spring.
But remember, when I'm talking spring, I'm talking the ice is gone and now I'm on the water.
Yeah, because
Well,
again,
That's my spring.
typically, I mean, you got to
yeah,
think. So in the springtime, they're getting ready to spawn. So
Right.
they're going to be targeting items that are bigger and
More protein. Yeah.
more protein, and as well as see. And this is why red baits, particularly in a cross style, are going to get their attention more because
Right.
crawfish means more calcium. Now, I can tell you from raising fish, I used to raise angelfish, that a higher calcium diet led to more uh, properly developed eggs and
Yep.
thus stronger
yep,
fry. So there's a reason why they go for those at that time of year. They
Gotcha.
also go for, and if you come out of like a really tough winter, the first thing that you're going to want to do when you get hungry again is go find a big fat steak and mow that sucker. And that's part of the reason why they go for the bigger feed at that time of year. And typically, when your bait fish are spawning, which is usually in the summertime, by the
Right.
time the bait fish's fry is big enough to start actually being targeted, it's only, like an inch or two long. That's
Yeah.
usually like late summer, early fall, and that's why they go after the smaller things. And then as the fall progresses, they start going larger. Typically,
Yeah. And
this year
that's rung
I've
true
noticed
this
it's
year
been
for sure.
yeah.
And I've noticed
Yeah.
that years in the past, right? And that's why as the summer goes on, I start to downsize. But this year with the
Yep.
live
Yep.
scope, especially, I've noticed
Yeah.
a big difference in that.
Yeah, yeah, and the live scope's good because again, it helps you track the behavior in places that. So again, going back to the springtime, you can actually watch how they behave because they're up shallow. You can see them, and you know the live helps in the summer and the fall when they're early fall when they're still out deep.
Right.
It just gives you those eyeballs down deep, so you can pretty much do the same thing that you were doing in the spring. You just got to adjust to the depth.
Well, I
Yep.
noticed in the spring when I was actually scanning beds on Bomo, but
Hmm.
I was finding beds in 20 feet of water
Oh yeah,
that I would
smallmouth,
never have
no joke.
known. That's
Hmm.
the whole thing. So like, you can see those beds, you go to your home lake, you know where the beds usually are on the shallow water. But the thing I
Hmm.
was noticing was you were seeing like the little dot sitting there and it would move and then come back. It was always going
Yep, yep,
back to the same spot. And I was like, oh, that's a bed, but I'm in 20 feet of water. I would have had
yep,
no idea
exactly. And
that that was there.
you know what's really crazy? So I've been doing some research on this. YouTube's a wonderful thing to find videos about stuff like
Yeah.
this. Anyways, the research out there showing that if you're finding beds deeper, generally the bigger the fish is going to bed deeper, especially when it
Yep.
comes to smallmouth, because that's just where they feel more comfortable. Um,
Well, they've
one of the
learned.
big, well, yeah, and one of the biggest places where they've been finding that is like the St. Lawrence River, and then out in the big lakes,
I
like
find it on
these.
Champlain too.
Yeah, and
Up
the
to 18.
smallmouth are spawning. The bigger the fish they are, the deeper they're spawning. So you're getting like 7, 8, 9 pound females that are spawning in like 40, 50, 60 feet of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's where that
obviously,
original live scope came in, the cone of shame. Out, out here on Champlain and the St. Lawrence. That's where they use it.
Mm.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. Like if you find, in our state, if you find a bed out in 20 feet, that's going to be a big freaking smallmouth.
Well, it's an educated older smallmouth too, because I'm like, especially like
Hmm.
here, we don't have rules about bed fishing. So you get a lot more pressure on those
Yep.
shallow fish.
Hmm.
And honestly, unless we get a heavy snow winter, the spring's going to be weird
Could
because
be.
where some of those fish's beds were don't
Dry.
exist right now.
Yeah. No, you're
Like
right. If
think
we
about
if
like
we
the
don't get a
causeway. There's
Yep.
there's beds all the way up that sandbar, like Lamoille, same thing. And the Lamoille, there's beds on that sandbar too, and they're not going to be able to bed there because they can't even get there.
That's
Right.
right. So they're
So
going to have to adjust, which means they're going to have to go out deeper.
the places that they were normally feeling safe, and I mean, because let's be honest, I can't say it's always the same fish, but
Mm.
if you go to a lake that has a good like spawn, the there's the bed that's here that's been there. It's like a deer. There's always a buck rub on this 30-yard stretch of woods. Like
Yeah.
there's always beds there,
You're
and
gonna
those aren't
have
going to exist.
resident. That's the thing. You're gonna have resident fish that go to the same location every year. There's transient fish that move, obviously, but there's also going to be resident fish. And if you're lucky enough to find one of those big resident females, you can pretty much bet where she's going to be um, during the spawn and after the spawn. And she's probably going to keep coming back to the same general
Yep.
location, especially if a male is going to keep bedding in that same general location. It may not be the same male, but as long as that male is in that same area, she's gonna probably visit and use that bed. Not to
Yep.
mention, it's already been proven that their fish will spawn multiple times
Yep.
throughout the spawn. So one female can visit 2 or 3 different beds and lay in each of them.
Yep.
Yep. That's a good question right there.
So I have found yes, but
Yeah.
I run mine pretty much on like high clarity all the time. Like I'm removing the noise as maximum as I can.
And I'm the other way around.
So, and that's
I have
because
mine right here. And if I
Mhm.
go into mine, my noise reduction is low right now. And this was just Sunday. And my contrast is A+8. I went up to 10, but when I went in to less than 10 feet of water, it was too much noise. So I dropped it back down to 8.
Now, why do you decide to go that direction?
I want to see that fish. The
Yep.
other thing is, it sounds really funny. The higher my contrast, I can actually see more detail in the fish, more
Yep.
detail in the weeds. The
Oh,
weed
okay.
looks a little bigger, but I can see where the
Yeah.
stalk is and where the leaves are. On
Yeah,
the fish,
yeah.
I can see the fins.
Yeah.
I on a 3.5 to 4 pound bass, you can see the tail, and a lot of times you can see the front forward fins too, the pectorals.
So the
Okay.
difference in the contrast is to give you the best perspective I can give you is so if you turn it up and you get it dialed right, you can see the blade on your spinnerbait.
Yep.
Okay.
So you can literally see the flicker above.
Even a chatterbait,
You can see
if you
it.
got it dialed in. Yep.
Oh
So
man, don't give me live scope and a chatterbait because I'll catch everything.
it's
Well,
that's something that actually it's funny is that's one of the things that I found that's kind of like a non-conventional use for it is look, one of the things I do the most with it is if I'm going up a bank and I'm in like say 8 feet of water and I'm running a chatterbait through submergent grass, I will point my live scope or my screen at like a 45-degree angle, so I'm catching my bait as it crosses from deep to shallow to see
Okay.
if stuff reacts to it.
Right.
Yeah. See if it
So
comes
I'm
up.
not necessarily expecting to catch a fish using it as much as like if from like you'll see what will happen is like if I'll cast to the bank and bring it back, I'll do like a fan cast, and then if I see something come from off screen, because the one thing you will see, which is freaking crazy, is your chatterbait will be in the middle of the screen, and then you'll see something fly in from 65 feet out. Like they come in like mad. Sometimes you'll catch that fish, but a lot of times they'll come in, they'll pan, they'll stop, and then they'll stay there. Then I follow up with my
Yep.
finesse bait or jig
Yeah.
or whatever I have for my secondary bait. So a lot of times I will use the forward as like it's a fish finder, but it's like literally like I'm using my loud, obnoxious chatterbait to draw them in, and then I
Yep.
can see where they came to and then cast to them.
Yeah. Back to Michael's question real quick. I didn't notice any difference in current.
I didn't.
So
either.
we did the Lamoille, and I fished that from the boat, from the kayak. Nick and I went all the way up to the dam, and I mean, like, get out of the kayak, drag your kayak up to the dam, and I did not notice a difference in current unless it was cloudy water or dirty water. Then you could, the more the turbulence with the dirty or the mud, whatever you want to call it, you would notice that. So water clarity matters greatly, in my opinion. The dirtier the water, I have to come back down on my sensitivity. And that's why right now I'm up so high, is because the water's pretty clear pretty much everywhere, at least where we fish.
Yep.
But in the current, I did not notice any difference really,
I
unless
think
it was dirty water.
the only thing that you have to do in the current is you have to change your mental perspective, because you're either moving away or towards the fish. So
Yeah.
when you're trying to pinpoint where you're going to throw your bait to, that fish isn't there anymore because you're moving away or towards it.
The other thing about the current that I noticed was if you got a nice fish, you could see what way he was set up in the current. Like, on the Lamoille, it was pretty slack when we were there.
Yeah.
Well, there was times where the fish would be facing downriver. I'm like, what is going on with that guy? And if you made the wrong presentation, you cast it up above him, a lot of times he wouldn't react. You cast it down below him, then he would react. And it was kind of like, I would have never ever tried that. Like, there's the structure. Why is he on the wrong end of it, facing the wrong way? And mainly it was because it was so slow that day. But.
No, I've noticed. So for perspective, and I'm actually going to show you guys a video real quick, and you'll kind of see what I mean. Like, there's a difference when you hit a fish's side, it's a dot. When you hit a fish head on, it's like a spike.
Yeah,
it's like a vertical line. So what happens is you can actually, if you learn how to adjust your arm and hit that fish, you can figure out, okay, if it's at this angle and I'm getting a spike and then I turn it and I'm getting the dot, I know which way he's facing.
Yeah.
And like Chris said, when you dial it in really well, I don't have it. I run the 2D setting a lot, so I don't have as much of that advantage, but you can actually see their tail moving.
Yeah.
And you can actually see the difference in their tail.
Yeah, and I don't have to run the 2D because I run my Humminbird with 2D and mapping.
Yeah. So. But this video, guys, I'm going to show you, like, you see right here, that's a fish coming off the bottom that just jumped up. And you'll see in just a second, literally, the fish bit the bait and I yank it away from him right here. And the fish actually comes back, hits my bait, and then you'll see literally I hook set and pull him out right there. So I wanted to show that to kind of, like, I wouldn't have known without having this that fish was still tracking my bait. I would have just burned my bait out and left. But because I was watching the forward-facing sonar, and that's what I mean by what I will do is I will pump it away from them and then let it fall back down, because sometimes you can get them to commit because they think, oh, I'm busted, I might as well eat this thing at this point.
Yep. Or that first initial strike, they thought, okay, maybe I injured it, and now, it got that last little flutter, and now it's dying, so now I can go finish it off.
Yep. And then you get the other thing, too, and I'm sure Chris is seeing this. You'll get the opposite. You'll throw a bait in there, and they're gone. They don't want anything to do with it.
I hate seeing that.
And honestly, they don't normally take off. I had one the other day take off faster than I've ever seen one take off in real life even. Like, the only thing that moves that fast when you're scared, it's a pike. Like, I casted at it, and that bait hit the water, and you saw him turn, bait dropped down, he looked at it, and he just took off so fast on the screen. I was like, I go to my kid, and my kid is with me. I'm like, dude, do you see that? He's like, no, I missed it. I'm like, that fish, I don't know. We scared the crap out of that thing. I told him, like, I don't know what happened, but so yeah, they will do that. They will take off and burn away. A lot of times you'll get the ones where they'll just slowly slide away. And then what I do in that scenario is try to grab a different bait real quick if I can. And if he's still on the screen, I'll fire another bait at him. And once in a while you get one to bite that way.
What you'll learn too is, like, the other thing I've noticed is, like, I've had situations where I threw to what I thought was a small rock pile and then have it break into little tiny dots and realize it was a gigantic school of perch. So you throw it at, like, the edge of what you think is a rock pile and then go to drag through it, and then it just goes, it expands into a cloud, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I did that. We were on Sunday. I did that. I go, Zach, my God, there's 3 really nice ones right out here. Boom, boom, boom. I cast it out there, fire it out there. It drops down, and I twitch it, and it goes.
Yep.
There's like 20 perch. I'm like, damn.
Yep.
Like, I really thought it was 3 perfect fish. Like, I thought
it looks like, because it'll be suspended, so it looks like a gigantic ball. So you're like, oh, that's a big one, and then you cast to it. I can tell you what looks really weird on forward-facing sonar is loons.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
There was one day I was on actually Chit Res, and I was scoping, and I didn't realize that the loons were right in the same area as me, and I was like, "What in the fuck is this?" Because it was like an oblong, it was like an oval, and I was like, "I've never seen a fish that's like that oval." And then all of a sudden, up came a little black head out of the water, and I go,
Yeah. And
"Oh,
they'll leave
that's
more
what
of
it
a
was."
bubble trail or a trace.
Yeah,
Like a bass moving fast, like the one on your video, they'll leave a trace also. But
yeah.
the loons will definitely leave a much longer, thicker trace on the screen.
And that's what you'll see with like chatterbaits. So, for
Yeah.
example, if you run a chatterbait through, you'll see distortion behind where the chatterbait came through, where it's still picking up the vibration.
Yeah.
Which is, I know it's got Jesse thinking because he's like, "Oh, really?" Then that's I think the thing that's like the most important thing I want to try to bring up on this is it's not. I have learned more than I haven't really. I can't say I've definitely Salem, for example. I caught 2 fish using the technology, cast to catch, that ultimately probably those fish got me into the money. But it's more about I've learned when to speed up a jerkbait, slow down a jerkbait, when to. One of the things that I learned with a moving bait specifically is that my baits like weren't as deep as I thought they were.
Right.
Like you throw a chatterbait out and you think, oh, I feel like it's ticking bottom. No, it was ticking like grass, but it wasn't. It was halfway down the column when I thought it was all the way to the bottom. In a
Yep.
wacky rig, I get why people don't fish the wacky rig
You think you're
because
on the bottom and it's
I
just
have
hanging in the middle of the water column.
thrown wacky rigs and watched them and then like mentally go, okay, that's at the bottom, and then look at my forward and it's only like down 3 to 4 feet. And if thing is if you close your bail, it's going to suspend. It's just going to pendulum, and it never makes it to the bottom.
Yep.
So a lot of times, I realize in a lot of situations, I was suspending a wacky rig when I thought I was dragging on a bottom.
Yeah, you might as well at that point. I mean, you start going any deeper than 8 feet, you might as well throw a weight on it. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting there waiting for an hour for the damn.
That's where the tube came from. Honestly, what it came from is so now anything 8 feet and under, I fish a wacky rig, and when I get over 8 feet, I start throwing like a 3/16 tube.
Yeah. So I'm going to shake my screen a little bit. Answer Michael's question real quick. I because of the setup I have, I fish. I have a boat that I'm semi-part owners in with my son, and then my dad has a boat, which I'm involved with that boat too. So, and they're both very similar boats. Technically, they're identical boats. One's just a little newer than the other one. And I have my kayak. So, with that being said, I came up with my own system, Michael. And what I have here is it's a 3 wide piece of T-track. It's actually solid stock aluminum. It weighs like 8 or 9 pounds. It's really heavy, which kind of is a drawback. I have my arm mounted on a ram mount-ish. And there's the foot. I don't know if you can see it very good. And then I have the graph mounted on. This is I think they call them a cell block.
Yep.
I think what it was called.
Yep.
This is the knockoff version. That's an Amazon knockoff version. And then I mounted my graph to that. I have my transducer cable, which is rather thick and very heavy, actually. It's all coiled up in there. And then a few years back, that's a 30 amp hour Yolink pole battery that they came out with for like a year or two. It's got a spot to mount the pole. I don't know if you can see that. And then it's got a couple other features. It also tells me my voltages, so on and so forth, some USBs and some lights. So this pole, what I have is, you can see the screw hole. When it's on my kayak, I slide that end of it up on my track with a bolt head. So it locks the bolt head in on this end over here. And then on this end, I put that down into my kayak on a set screw from my old town that was already existing. So that'll hold it on the kayak. On the boats, I mount this all up on the bow next to the trolling motor. My graph sits looking back at me. This hangs over the edge, and then I take a actual wood clamp, and right here I just basically ratchet my wood clamp down here, and one on this side, and then depending on how rough it is, I will I'll bungee or safety strap it just in case. But so far on that system, I've never had it really waver. And then that way there, when I move in the boat, I just rotate this out of the way, and then I can go. So for me, this system has worked out really, really well. Um, it, it, it allows me to do it on the kayak, either boat. And I could even put it on somebody else's boat the way I have it set up. And that's kind of why I've done it. I have a couple people that I co-angler with on their boats, and I have it set up so I could mount it on their boats too.
Nice.
Now, I will say, having, again, going from basically the same mentality as Jesse of I had down imaging, but I used it for depth and looked at it maybe 6 times a day, to now when I went to the St. Lawrence, for example, and I was in Bobby's boat, I missed not being able to scan.
Yeah.
And it's not even because necessarily I wanted to be able to see suspending fish. It's just being able to see if there's, like, I think one of the things that I took for granted until I didn't have it was even in the shallows, pointing it at a dock or a shoreline, you 45 it at a shoreline. I can see stuff swimming around this dock, but not that dock, but this tree, but not that tree. So then I can become more efficient coming down a bank, because I'm like, I'm still going to throw one cast because I don't fully trust technology. And bass are, you'd be surprised how many times you throw what you think is dead water and then something shoots up off the bottom and comes at your bait anyways. But if I see a dock that's got 3 dots on it and I see a dock that's got no dots on it, I'm going to go screw with the 3-dot dock first and then go back to the other one later. And it allows you to, like, speed up, especially in a tournament when those minutes are precious.
Yep.
You can be like, oh, well, there is something there, so I'm more likely to have a bite here than I am there, and then you work your way down through. But
yeah, another thing is, and it's amazing, but when you find rock shoals or ledges or boulders, it's amazing. Like now, I have certain areas that I fished all my life, and I know where to go. I know how to cast to it, know how to get bites, especially during the springtime.
Yep.
That's my primary time to fish, because fall, when I'm coaching, I don't have as much time. But I now notice why, or understand why fish are where they are on that ledge.
Yep.
Because I can see that drop that I thought was just a little gradual drop. No, that's a drop with a back cut, and they're hiding under that back cut. Or
Yep.
there's a spot on a lake that we fished this year in the tournament up by me, and there's an island on it, and that island has a point that is a big rock shelf coming straight out, perfect. And out off of that, there's also it's almost like a T. It's not quite a T. I'm going to call it more of a 45. There's another ledge that comes off of that now that I never knew was there. I've graphed it, and you're like, oh, you're just coming up on the ledge. No, there's 2 separate spots there. And
you can see where what's good is, so the thing that I like to do a lot, same kind of idea is I'm using it like forward down imaging. And it sounds weird to say it that way, but like, instead of having to graph and go look for rock piles, and then you're like, oh, look, a rock pile, but that rock pile now is behind me because that's how down imaging works, or it's directly below me, depending on how fast I'm moving. Now I can go, okay, 40 feet in front of me, I see this rock pile. And like Chris was saying, what I notice is then if you change boat position, you'll be like, oh, that rock pile that I thought was this is this.
Yeah.
And it's got a spot over here where when you cast to it, you see where the fish come out of.
Yeah.
So you think that they're on the front side of it because that's where the ledge is, but they could be on the back side of it. You didn't know, and you always fish that same spot. I've got spots on my home lake that I have specific deep areas that I've caught fish on and never understood why. I just always caught fish there. And now I'm like, oh, they live in this section. Like, one of the spots was a specific example of, like, it's a ledge, it's a bluff wall. And I always go to this one tree, and I cast off the end of that tree. In my mind, they're sitting right at the end of that tree and looking up, but they're not. they're actually sitting at the base of the tree, closer to the bank, looking at the end of the tree. And what I learned from my forward facing is that when I drop that bait down the end of that tree, that's what he's targeting. So he's waiting for something to come across the front of that structure and shooting from the back of the tree to the front of the tree to hit the bait. So then I started, when I stopped catching fish there, I actually started coming from the other side and throwing at where he was hanging out. And I was getting a reaction strike because I was surprising him because I was coming right down on top of him.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that you've always fished that tree, and I always cast to the front of the tree, and if there's a fish there, he bites. But you don't realize the other thing I've learned, and I know if you've seen it too, Chris, is like sometimes I realize when you're casting to the bank, the fish aren't coming from the bank to your bait, they're coming from the deep to the bank.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that too. Like they're actually coming out here, and I'm casting to this tree, and they're coming from here in, not from here in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the things that's like invaluable. Like I'm like, oh, okay. Now I know where they're actually living. Because before, if you then get deep and come at that bait from here, you're over top of the fish that you're targeting and don't even realize it.
Exactly.
All right, guys. I'm gonna call it here for me because I got a early day tomorrow. I got another long drive ahead of me. So
Well,
I'm
good luck
gonna get
out there.
off.
Yeah. Good
What's
luck,
that?
dude.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have fun
we'll
at
keep in
Jackson
touch.
kayaks
And
too. That'd be fun.
oh yeah, yep. I'll definitely be. If I can get that tour in, I'll definitely be taking a video of all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
all right. Have a good one,
Very
guys.
nice.
Thanks.
I think he dropped off. Oh, there he goes.
He's still moving there. No, he's still moving. There he goes.
I dropped him out. I'll remove him just in case so he doesn't start talking to someone and get himself in trouble. But yeah, I don't are you so you're probably just started fishing again, right? With soccer being done. You're
Yep.
kind of
Yeah.
starting to
Summer
get some
just
more.
ended last week. So, and I say that now it's duck season too. So I have to split my time. My dad leaves in December, so I like to hang out with him, and he likes to go duck hunting.
Yeah.
I'll get him out one more time fishing because he'll normally want a batch of perch to take to Florida. But
You'll have to let me know how the eagle eye works for ice fishing. I don't think I'm gonna bother rigging anything. That toolbox right there in the background.
Yeah.
That's actually what I rigged for my old Striker 4.
Yeah.
I put a battery in that, and then I put a deck plate on it, and I put one of those like kayak arms.
Yep.
So I could 2D,
Okay.
so I could at least get depth. And with 2D, because the old Striker 4s had flasher mode.
Yep.
So you could use that for ice fishing. But I've debated on rigging up something for the eagle eye to be able to
I'll bring this and put it in down mode. And I mean, I'm happy to go out with you, and show you.
Oh, I'm going to be doing Carmi a bunch. We're actually doing with Janelle, the not so co-host, or not so co-host anymore.
Yeah.
Not by her choice, by the way, guys, in case you're wondering where she went. She's just busy and got life stuff, and I kind of decided to just bring Chris and Jesse on and have her come on when she can. But my plan is to do 2 nights down there.
Yep.
I'm going to try to do 2 nights at the actual park ramp with the diesel.
Remember, you guys can always cheat and come over to the house.
And that's the other benefit of it. Is the only reason I'm really, honestly, I would even do that if it wasn't for the fact that then I can just leave everything set up and not have to worry about like taking stuff down at the end of the day. Because I really want to try to do walleye.
Yep. Oh, we can do it now. I've dialed in a few things in a few spots, and I already knew where they were, but I have a few thoughts about that. I think we can go have some fun.
And that is one of those walleye, more nighttime feeders. So I want to be able to stay as late as possible. And I actually got last year. I got them, and they're pretty cool. Is HT makes these tip sensors for the tip ups too, and they're it's an LED light, but it only lights up when it goes vertical.
Gotcha.
So like the polars, the old school polars, or like the Celsius ones that are the flat bar with the thing that flips up. So with those, you literally have a clip that clips onto the actual flag. So when they're down, they stay dark, and then when they flip up, they light up.
Oh, nice.
So it's nice for being able to like throw a couple tip ups out and then try to jig for. But for walleye, you almost kind of need tip ups because they're so sensitive to sound and stuff. You kind of have to just be quiet and
Yeah.
let them do their thing. But
I think we can find them with this. I do now. And it's so easy with this unit to go down or forward,
yep,
so
just push a button.
push a button, bang, bang, done. It shows you
Yep.
down, it shows you forward. We could go look, we pop one hole, look around in the areas that I know. Yep, there's some over there. And they've been it's been pretty easy when you find them to stay on them.
Yeah.
This summer and fall. Definitely in the spring it was. I mean, in the spring we were having 10 to 12 fish days, and I was targeting smallmouth, and I was catching 12 walleye.
Oh,
all the smallmouth.
I am definitely going to be up there in the spring.
Yeah, you'll have a blast.
Up there,
Really, you know it better.
Now that I have an understanding of how that place breaks down, and honestly, the spot that I go for ice fishing is just because I'm lazy.
Right, yeah, and that I'll be honest with you, that spot's fun in the early spring before the weeds get thick. Other than that, I'd never fish there.
No, and
once the spawn is gone, I'm out of that area.
Yeah, for ice fishing, it's just one of those things where I can literally be 50 yards from my truck catching smallmouth walleye and pike with no problem.
Yeah, I think I have a spot that it maybe have to go 100 yards, but I think I have a spot where you can do that at the other end.
Okay.
You'd have to park a little differently than we did for the tournament. You go down a little further, but I think I have a spot where you can get into like 12 to 18 feet of water pretty quick, not that far to walk. And I think I know the walleye are there at certain times, but I think we could get them there because of the way that lake and the water flow is there. I think they're going to be there.
This is a valid question probably for you. I do not. I'm running just a single unit, but you're running 2 units, right? When you run yours,
I run I have my Hummingbird Helix, and it's a Helix 7. It's the only one that's transducer is for side imaging is smaller, so it fits in my hull in the slot in the hull. So I run the Helix with side imaging. I don't even run down on it. Normally it's always side, unless I'm like we're just drifting around, then I switch it. But when I'm pedaling, it's always in side imaging mode, and then I run this one. And if I'm trying to go somewhere fast, I'll pull this one out of the water. If not, I'll kick it out at about 1 o'clock, maybe 10 degrees or whatever off to the side.
That's what I do.
Run it that way.
So I did play around with the different settings. So what I will do at times, if I'm just scanning and I'm not really trying to see anything specific, I have it set up to do I think it's top bottom with down and live.
Yeah,
and the reason I do that the reason I do that is because it's more for depth and structure.
Yep.
So what I'm doing is I'll take the down so I can see what's under me, and then I'm taking my arm and pointing it either at the bank or deep.
Yeah.
To get a perspective of, okay, there's a hump there's a hump under me on the down, but if I'm looking to my right with my forward, I can say, okay, not only is it a hump, but it's a ledge.
Yeah.
It's the point of a ledge that comes up to where I am.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. So I run my live like a side imaging. So it gives me this isn't just a rock pile. It's literally the top of a peak that goes down into the center of the lake.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned to do with now I will say I don't really honestly understand side imaging. Like I suck at reading side imaging.
Part of that's because of the units you've had. I will say this, I've always been a Lowrance snob. When it comes to mapping right now, the Garmin unit my dad has is phenomenal. And that's out of the box. It's Navionics level out of the box. Yep. This Lowrance, not, the Eagle Eye is not that. My Hummingbird is not that. Side imaging, my Hummingbird is the best unit I've ever had. No, my dad, we've run HDs. My dad has an HD Lowrance HDS on the boat. We have not Eagle Eye. What are they? The TI2, the Elite TI2s.
Elite TIs, yeah.
Yeah, we have those 1s and 2s. Awesome, great, love them. but the side imaging on the Helix is superior. And I've heard that in the past, and I never believed it. And when I first got mine, it was not. And then I reached out to somebody that runs nothing but Helixes, and I said, "What am I doing wrong?" And he said, "Try this setting." And I turned it on. I was like, "Oh, okay, that's how this is supposed to look."
I think that's the thing with the Eagle Eye too, is like it's kind of ruined me in a way, because I know me and you have had this conversation before. It made me go, so if I could see this much with this one,
Right.
how much more could I take advantage if I could see the 120-degree cone instead of
Right.
the 70-degree or whatever
Yeah.
the
And in
right?
theory, it should be more precise. It should be, a better picture, all of
Yeah,
that. Yeah. I just don't have the 3 to 5 grand to
I
drop.
don't either.
Just
Yeah,
don't. I did see one of them right now is like 2,500 for a bundle. That's that's tempting. I just don't have that right now either. But
and
and
it,
this
and
really, to be honest with you, for the money, this thing kicks butt.
I'll tell
I
you right
love.
now, you're looking to get a fish finder. Just you're looking to get a fish finder. If you
Yeah.
don't care about side imaging and you want a fish finder for $1,000, the Eagle Eye is really the down imaging is one of the clearest down imaging I've ever
Yep.
used,
Yep.
and I've used
It's right. It's as good as the. It's definitely as good as the Elite TIs. I don't think it's quite as good as the HDS, but it's right up there
yeah.
for
I mean,
down imaging.
I've used not only for bass fishing. I mean, I grew up salmon fishing.
Yeah.
So I grew up using big boy fish finders for that crap too, and we had Garmin's and we had freaking Lowrances and all of them. And the forward facing sonar is an added bonus, but you
Right.
don't necessarily, it's not something you have to use. It's something that's an option, but you have mapping that you can get the Navionics chips for.
You
You
can.
can put that in there so you get the better mapping. It does do its own Genesis live recording mapping, and you can put, like, one of the things I'll tell you right now, if you guys think about it or read the manual, don't believe the manual, because I'll tell you, it says you can put up to 32 gig SD card in it. Well, I can tell you right now, this card was in there, and that's a 256. And that's the card I took out of my car. So you can put a 256 gig card in there and build all the maps you want and record all the forward facing. That's how that video I just gave you guys was off that memory card. And you can build your own map, and you get the benefits of having a entry level, we'll call it, forward facing sonar. You get a decent down imaging for $1,000, and it's not a power hungry unit. It's really not. I mean, the forward is definitely more power hungry than down, but you can run it all day and you're not going to be sucking down a ton of battery. And the
Yeah.
beauty of
That,
this is you
that
don't need all
battery.
the black box and stuff.
Yeah, that battery is a 30 amp hour. I've had it. Boy, that thing's probably 7, 8 years old. I could go 2 days solid and probably more running that unit, the Helix, the GoPro, and my lights in the morning. And I can get 2+ days out of it
Yep.
without even thinking about charging it.
I
Now,
can go.
I will say this unit, when it gets down into that 12, 12.2, 12.3 maybe, or any lower on voltage, she starts to go,
It's done.
and then it goes boom, and it's
It
down.
does not
Yeah.
like going below 12 volt.
Yeah, and on the boats with the AGM batteries for the cranking batteries on Bart's boat, even unless his motor's running, I can't run my unit
Yep.
off that battery. I have to bring my pack with me, which I do anyway. My dad's boat, it's newer battery, still AGM on the cranking side, but that one will last 4+ hours,
Yep.
with maybe 1 or 2 starts and moves. No issues. I haven't had an issue with that boat. But on Bart's, that boat's, boy, it's probably 6, 7 years old now, 5, 6 years old, I guess. And that battery just isn't. It won't hold this one up.
So I learned the hard way when I first started having problems with mine. So the way I have my kayak rigged, I have my battery running into a fuse block, which is split to a light switch, 2 USB chargers next to me, a USB charger in the back, USB charger in the front, and then my fish finder.
Yeah.
And what I learned is if I plug in a wireless charging pad for my phone, that's drawing like 18 watts
Yeah.
while running my cameras and my live, it'll kill my live because it's too much draw for all my
Yeah.
battery to be able to support. So yeah, if you do get a dip in voltage, now to be fair, it's a good thing. It sounds like, oh well, that's not good. It's the
Protects the
unit
unit.
protecting itself.
Yeah.
It's basically what happens is it'll run down. To be clear, it'll run down with less voltage fine. But
Yeah.
when you use live and you get below voltage, the unit will just flicker and then shut itself down.
Yeah.
It doesn't let itself brown out, which can actually cause damage to the components of the machine. So it's smart enough to just kill itself and stop running rather than what you'll see is it'll flicker and then it will say no source on your live
Yeah.
and then it will die. And that's actually one of the advantages I've had with my watt cycle batteries is I can tell the battery percentage, which
Right.
is kind of not accurate in the sense of like once it gets below like 60%, it's going to be below 12. So then I'm going to have problems running my forward. But like I can check my battery to make sure I don't get down to that level. But I can actually see the draw on the app on my battery. So I know how much I'm drawing. So then I
Right.
can kind of be like, oh, it's not a major problem with my unit. It's my battery's not providing enough power for all the stuff that I'm trying to make it do. But yeah, that
Yeah.
is one. But again, most Garmin's now are 500-600 bucks for a decent unit. Like if you're talking a 9 inch, 7 to 9 inch unit,
Actually, a 9 inch are still good. Well, the 10 is 1,000. So
yeah. So you're paying what you're getting. For me, I would say if you're looking at it, like I say, a Garmin Striker, a Lowrance hook, or your standard Hummingbird, like not the higher end models, but like I forget what they have, like the
it
DI.
used
They
to
have
be
a
a
bunch.
Helix, but now they've just changed it again.
They've got a bunch of different names for their lower units. If
Right.
you're going into that category, the Eagle Eye, in my opinion, is better because you get the bonus of the forward facing sonar and you're still getting the. Now, if you care about side imaging, yeah, you're going to have to go with another unit. But
Yeah, and they make an Eagle with side. It doesn't have the down, or it
right.
doesn't have the forward facing, but they do make a version that has side.
I'd be curious to
That one I
see.
think is only like $700.
I'd be curious to see because isn't it like the TIs are like are active target ready, right?
Uh,
Do they have the ability to, or
I,
do you have to
it
black
might.
box?
I don't know. I think the bigger ones are. I don't know if the nine
Okay.
inch is,
Okay.
again, I don't know that for sure. It could be.
Because
The
I know a lot
8
of the like Garmin's. I know like the Garmin's. A lot of them, like when my dad was telling me like his one that he had bought for his like big boat for trolling
Yeah.
was live scope ready.
Yeah, I think the SVs and above are live scope for the Garmin.
Now a lot of those need the actual black box and all that shit to
Yeah, you have
make
to
it
buy the
work.
black box and the transducer.
Yeah.
Or you could buy a bundle that comes with the deucer and the box, I think.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's one of the
that's
reasons
the other
why.
thing that's so nice about this unit. It's all self-contained. There's no other boxes, no other wiring.
Yeah.
It comes with a power cable and a deucer cable and
If
the unit, and that's
if
all you
you're
need.
putting on a kayak, a jumbo, a
Yep.
small canoe, you
Shoot,
have
even
the
a
advantage
16 or
of just
17-foot boat, like
yep.
where you're running, if you're running a 24-volt trolling motor on that smaller boat, now you're taking up all that room.
Yep.
You're starting to tie up a lot of space. This unit has everything built in. It
And
really,
let's be honest. If it's in a boat and it's wired, it's gonna fail at some point. The more components and more wiring you add, I don't care if it's my freaking 12-foot kayak or your
right,
17-foot boat, it's gonna wires corrode, stuff happens when they're on the water. I mean, that's what happened to me in Carmi. I didn't have
right,
a fish finder at all in Carmi.
right,
I got and that was fucking stupid. At the end of the day, it was my fucking terminal bolts weren't tight on my fuse block.
right.
They had
Yeah,
vibrated loose from riding in my kayak for so long that I just needed to tighten down the nut. But I
right.
didn't know that at the time,
That's
and I kept
crazy.
losing voltage. It was the same thing we were just talking about. I was losing below 12 volts.
Yeah,
So I was still getting enough voltage to run my cameras.
right.
but I was dipping because it was moving and it wasn't staying consistent. And the fish
Yeah.
finder was like, I don't want anything to do with this, and shut down.
Right.
So, but that's honestly why it's taking me so long to fix the boat,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, I'm going to sink $1,000 into the motor, and then what's going to break next? But I'm not gonna lie. Next year, I might, if I can get the trolling motor, and I do think I'm gonna try that like extension on that arm to
I would.
start,
Yeah.
and then I may even do some of the sleigh tournaments for my boat. Like if we do big bodies of water, like Dunmore or Magog, or
Yeah.
I
Nick
might
and
be
I
able.
wanted to at Lamoille, but we just thought everybody would if we won that, and I knew where we were going, we had a chance. And if we would have had the boat, we probably, I don't know if we would have made it back in time. We would have had to go all the way in the other branch of the river, and we might not have made it back in time because of how rough it got, but we would have been able to
Yeah,
stay where we were. When the fish started biting, I was in 3 footers in my kayak. It just wasn't very fun. Nick was
no,
tucking as close to shore as he could. And then we're like, well, we got to go into that to get back. So we had
I'm.
to leave.
I think I'm getting my teammate back next year.
No, about time.
I've been doing a lot of that, because he really enjoyed Salem,
Yeah. I
and
mean, it's so much fun.
and I think I've got him convinced. And I've also talked to Pete at one point about like some of the lakes that he was talking about doing, and there's a lot more. I know 2 or 3 of the ones he wants to do are local to me,
Yeah.
so Bear could come down
Right.
and just stay at my house, and then we could just commute from here, so
Yeah.
then he can come down the night before, and then not have to travel so far in one day.
Yeah.
um I'm hoping, because Pete was talking about doing 8 events next year.
Hey, sign me up.
And you might like it too, depending on how much you're going to be able to fish. I know you're a busy, important man nowadays, but
I don't
I'm
know.
going to be running, and I kind of want to try to do one of them with you. Is, I know Father's Day weekend, and then one other weekend
Yeah.
we're doing a team slot.
Oh, okay.
So the way it's going to work is you don't have to be on the same lake either.
Yeah.
So your teammate can be anywhere in the country, and it's going to be, and I've got to work out the logistics of this, but the plan is to try to do like a team slot. Got to figure out the details of it, but I do know it's going to be like, you could be on Carmi and I could be on my lake, and we could do, it's a combined bag.
Yeah. That's
We're
cool.
going, I'm trying to do a similar thing with like a 5 fish
Yeah.
monthly, but it's something that I don't have any of the details yet because I haven't hashed it out. But I want to try to do I want to try to do team monthly, and Bobby's talked about this in the podcast. So I'm not really giving anything out, but like the idea is like your teammate doesn't have to be in the same country state as you, because a
Yeah.
lot of us got friends that they live in another state, or your teammate's gone for the month, but you want to be able to do a tournament with them. You could
Right.
literally have your buddy that's down in Texas putting in fish in your bag while you're in Vermont putting fish in your bag. So it'd be kind of a cool way to like fish with your buddy
Yeah.
virtually. So I'm going to be doing a lot of tournaments next year, because I'm going to be directing at least 2 a month from April
Oh,
till October.
nice.
So granted, those are online, so I can kind of just go and do it
Right.
in between stuff, but like
Yeah.
but I'm planning on, I really want to try to do a couple sleigh events, like other than
Yeah,
Vermont
we
too,
talked about that this year and we didn't get to it, but
or
we should make
Adirondack.
a plan to at least do one or two. I was gonna do the New York one that came over Champlain, but um
Yeah.
that one the weather got snotty and there was something else that happened. And I actually had been communicating with them and I was gonna go and I can't remember what happened, but something came up and I'm like, yeah, it's not.
There's Adirondack KBF too.
That's who it was. No, it was Slay. It was Slay the
Yeah.
one I looked at.
Yeah, there's an Adirondack KBF trail that's been kind of up and coming,
Yeah.
and they do Saratoga, they do Lake George, they do a Champlain event, they do a bunch of lakes. I think they did Scroon. They
Oh,
did a bunch of like not that far from you guys, especially like it's not really
right.
across the lake. So I'm thinking about entering into some of those. And they used to do, I don't know if they did it this year. Last year they did like a team. One of the events was a team one.
Yeah, so the sleigh one that I looked into, that one was pretty cool. It was individual, but then you could also do team. You throw
Yep.
another 10 or 20 bucks in and you're a
Yep.
team. So that was pretty cool because, I mean, to me, you know me, I don't care if I win or second place or whatever. So if you and I or whoever and we went into it, like we could even share water,
Yep.
and win the team part and do good in the individual
Yeah.
stuff.
Bailey did that. So Bailey Agbrett does that one.
Yeah.
From Serious Angler. And he
Okay.
they do, I want to say they do a lot of the Finger Lake stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That trail does like
Yeah, they
Cayuga and
did
all
Cayuga
that.
this year, I think. They
They
did
did.
they did the St. Lawrence too this year.
Yep. Bailey won
Another one that I
this.
kind of wanted to go to, but that weekend I think we had one or there was something I couldn't go to that one.
Yeah, I think I want to say Bailey won or took second in the Champlain one,
He
but
did. Yeah, I can't remember what, but yeah, he was tough.
I was the same deal. He was on that same team trail with his buddy, and
Yeah.
I thought about doing. I heard rumor that I'm going up to the St. Lawrence Father's Day weekend
Okay.
next year. I've already paid for the campsite. I'm that I have a bone to pick with the St. Lawrence River at this point. I am a glutton for punishment, and I am not one to shy away from a challenge. If anything, it drives me more.
Yeah.
Like I said, I already paid for the freaking campsite for next
Right.
June and I'm taking the kayak up because I've been told that opening week can get good, and the only thing that's going to suck a little bit is apparently Father's Day weekend, similar to here. They do a free fishing weekend,
Yeah, and
no
there'll probably be a
licenses.
tournament and
Well, see, here's the thing. My wife made a valid point. And yes, I am admitting that my wife was right on the internet. So you guys can hear it. I've said it out loud. That's LCI weekend.
right.
And a lot of guys up there, they do travel from there to go to Champlain because it's not that far to get to Champlain from the St. Lawrence.
Very true.
There's a lot of places that you can get on Champlain from the St. Lawrence River that ain't too far away. So a lot of those guys will be fishing that derby.
Right.
So you will get a lot of people that are going to shy away from the main river if they live in that area because the LCI is going on.
That's true. That's a good point.
So I didn't think about that, but that is because I asked Chris, and you know Chris,
Right.
from eBay, and he was like, "Yeah, it's not awful busy because it's still opening week and there's that other stuff going on." And I was like, "Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about the fact that that may be a thing." So I'm definitely going to be going up there. I think I'm going twice. My plan is to go up for then that's where forward facing sonar is going to play heavy for me because that place, the fish are very nomadic.
Right.
They may be schooled, but they're nomadic
Well, they could
schools.
be on beds at that time, depending.
And that's where like being able to find pockets of fish, like that's where I missed having it the most.
Yeah.
Was going there and then like, and dude, the fucking drum. Dude, the water there is stupid clear.
Yeah.
And in like 10 feet of water, you just see these fucking heads. And you're just like, what is that? And then you look and you're like, that is a drum.
Yeah.
And it's like 20-pound drum just chilling in 8 feet of water laying on a rock.
Crazy, huh?
And you're just like, I don't even really care about catching a drum, but catching a 20-pound fish in a kayak is just.
Dude, they will tell you. I caught
Yeah.
one. It was probably a 15-ish pounder. It wasn't 20, I don't think. It was big. Trust me, it was big. But I caught one and I had to pedal at 3.5 miles an hour to catch up to it.
Yeah.
It was just take and drag. Like literally, I caught it on a Ned too. So I had my drag really loose, light line, and it just set the hook and it just went, and the rod went down into the water and drag was gone. I was using the 7.4 medium light spinning rod, and it just was like, and I'm like, oh my God. And I had to pedal at 3.5 miles an hour for probably 100 yards or further. Like by the time I landed that fish, I looked back and my two boys were like, they were like a quarter mile away almost. I'm like, my God, like it was insane. and literally at 3.5 miles an hour for like, I want to say it was about 100 yards going that fast just to catch up to that fish.
And that's one of the reasons why that drive, I hate driving, hate it with a passion. But that drive is not bad
No,
because it's like Route 7.
right?
It's just rural country roads all the way up. I don't have to deal with the highway. I come into a couple of towns, but most of it's just rural driving. You're basically just following Champlain.
Yeah, for you, yeah, yeah.
It's for me, I
I
just
go across
crossed.
the top, so
Yeah.
I know that way. Like we used to have hockey tournaments with the kids out there all the time. So
Yeah, see, it's even closer for you because I mean you got an hour and a half head start on me. So
yeah,
because the thing is with the ferry closed, the only option I really had was either come all the way up by you and cut
right,
over,
yeah,
or what I did is I went across Crown Point and then
right,
went that way.
yeah,
Which still, like, I was like, this isn't bad. And the fact that I can be, and it's really weird to think about, is like distance has changed in my brain for fishing, because back in the day, like the thought of driving like an hour and like driving to Carmi seemed intense.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you got to remember, I have
Yeah,
Bombazine, St. Catherine, my
right.
home lake. I've got Burr Pond, Cat Pond. I've got 10 fisheries that I can catch 5 pounders at or
Yeah, true.
decent smallmouth 20 minutes away. So it's
Right.
not worth driving an hour in most cases. But the challenge of fishing lakes that I'd never fished before, and that's where like I really love going on those kinds of adventures. So
Yeah,
then I started kind of venturing further out. And matter of fact, when I met you at Maury, that was like, to me, that was a long fucking drive at that time.
right,
And now, like, I'm thinking, dude, I'm 4.5 hours away from a world renowned smallmouth fishery
right.
that I have contacts at. I have friends up there, and it's easy to get up there and get the, like, I can literally call and get a scouting report
Right.
and then be like, yeah, it's worth going up there for the weekend. So
Mm.
that's something I'm definitely going to be doing. I'm actually, that whole down by the river thing, that's why I named it that. It's going
Yeah,
to be a series. It's going to be an annual trip. I'm now committed to doing it every year. Um, I'm planning on trying to do two,
nice.
but and then a bunch of tournaments and freaking. But right now, it's like I'm in that debate mode because every morning I wake up and there's frost on my windshield, and I'm like, man, do I really want to fish this weekend?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
late do you fish? Do you fish till there's ice, or do you?
Yeah, I'll launch where there's ice. I'll go to the big lake and go play around for lake trout or go
Yeah,
looking out in the clear, crystal clear, broad open lake. If it's a calm day, I'll go Christmas. Like honestly, it sounds funny, but now that most of the kids are got their own families, we don't do a Christmas morning anymore.
yeah, we don't either.
So I love going fishing Christmas morning. Like to me, that's like that is Christmas. That's my Christmas. Like, and so I'll go New Year's. I always try to go New Year's Day in the kayak. So I'm a little
Okay.
crazy with that. I should have a dry suit, but I dress. I wear my life jacket. I only go if it's good weather.
I That's part of my motivation for fixing the boat is I
Right.
want to be able to, with an outboard. It's not a big deal to go ice
Right. Yeah, we
water,
went last
drain it. It's fine.
last year New Year's Day. I took Zach on one of the boats.
Yep.
So
And that's kind of my motivation is it's the kayak. It's a safety thing, but it's also, it fucking sucks pedaling a kayak being all bundled up.
yeah, especially with if you don't have the right boots, man, it's a pain in the ass.
It sucks. It's not comfortable. Like, and I actually, I guess I'm probably slightly safer in the sense of like when it gets to be real freaking cold, I'm wearing my ice fishing float bibs.
Yeah.
So I'm not wearing waders, which again, there's a controversy of like those are kind of dangerous if you end up in the water because they
Long
can turn
ones.
you into an anchor. But I mean, I have the neoprene waders now too. But like when it gets real cold, I have literally float bibs for ice fishing that
Yeah.
are basically a life jacket. So I'm basically wearing two life jackets at that point. But trying to pedal wearing heavy boots, heavy socks, a heavy jacket, it
Yeah.
sucks. Like if I had a motor or something, it'd be a little different. That's where I'm debating on. I do have the rowboat. I'm debating on for this year, just getting out the rowboat and doing that to get me
Yeah.
a little bit longer. Because, like you said, and for those of you watching this that may not be from Vermont, when we say the Big Lake, we mean Lake Champlain.
Right.
For us, that's not a bucket list fishery. For us, it's the lake. That's 20 minutes down the road.
Right.
That doesn't. I mean, hell, Converse Bay. I was seeing guys were catching smallies out of Converse at like January last year,
Right.
right up until they started getting like locked ice. And a lot of places, some places in Champlain don't ever really truly freeze, depending on
Not
how bad the
anymore.
ice is.
Not anymore. I like literally. I've probably out of the last 4 or 5 years, we've been able to launch the boat New Year's Day. Um, at least 3 out of the 4 or 5 years.
Dude, if you go New Year's Day, you have to let me know.
Yeah,
I'd be interested to do that.
it's a blast. And I've gone New Year's Day and not caught a damn fish, but it's
That's
everything
yeah.
out there. It's so peaceful. There's nobody else out there. It's awesome. It really.
That's fall fishing, dude. That's the thing. Like, I have progressively gotten further into the year. Before I used to bow hunt, so I would stop in October,
Yeah.
and then I stopped bow hunting, and then I started fishing a little later and a little later, and like the fact that you have lakes to yourself some
Oh,
days, you just go out and it's like it's you, and there's always the good old like you'll find one of three stereotypes at the boat ramp this weekend. For example, there'll be the guy with the old silver tracker,
yeah.
the
Or
1990.
or 3 bench V hull. Yeah.
Yep. Or you'll get the guy that's got the little fucking John boat with doesn't even have a gas motor on. It's just got a troll motor, but he's out there for trout.
Yeah.
But you'll get the good old boy fisherman that'll meet you at the boat ramp and they'll talk with you and you go do your thing. Like that's what I love about it is it's my people.
Right.
You're not running into crowds. You're not running into people. The people that are there to fish, and you're all there to enjoy the misery of being cold and trying to catch a fish all day. And it's one of the best times to fish, even if you don't catch fish. And for me, it's like there's always that debate. It's like I made a video actually like last weekend, and I was like, the thing about this time of year is you're not on the couch. You can't
Right.
catch fish from your couch.
Nope.
And once you give up, the problem is once you're done fishing for the year, you're done fishing for the year. Like it's really a pain in the ass to pack all that stuff up and then get it all back out again. So you really got to make that commitment. Okay, I'm really done for the year.
Right.
And that's why I'm going to try. I'm putting in my damnedest effort. I actually ordered insulated pants.
Yeah.
I bought freaking heated base layer pants.
Oh, cool.
So they're battery pack heated. So I have a hoodie now and a battery pack base layer pant.
Yeah.
So I can kind of like, if I do start to get cold, I can dial up some heat. It's going to be for hunting too, but like
Right.
I'm trying to make it to rifle season this year. I was originally going to November 1st, but I'm kind of already there because I'm going this weekend. So
Right.
I've already made it because
Good.
I know I'm going Saturday. So now my new goal is I want to make it till rifle season, and then I'll probably just pack up the kayak because after rifle season, I'm hoping that maybe we'll start getting some skim ice and start getting some of the smaller ponds will be
Yeah.
iced up. But I don't
The
know.
water
And
dropped quite a bit this weekend. From last weekend to this weekend, it dropped about 8 degrees.
did it?
Yep.
Because I know I was getting 50s at my home lake, but
Oh, really? That cold? We this weekend I saw like 57. That was the coldest I saw this weekend, but I was still in the 65
oh
plus
really? Wow.
2 weekends ago. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah,
I was like, I've never seen that like
yeah,
this late in the year.
yeah. I was getting 50 and then 50 like by the it was really crazy because it's wicked how much it can fluctuate. So like when I this time of year too, I don't even leave my house till noon.
Yeah,
I'm not
we were
going
up in the
out.
water around 8:30.
I'm not going out at daylight.
Yeah,
It's I guess it also depends on the lake you're fishing too. But like
right.
a lot of the lakes I fish are better afternoon spots as a general rule, anyways. So I kind of like want the sun to be able to warm that water up a little bit.
Yeah.
But even at like noon, I was hitting 50, and then some places like shallower areas, I was getting like 55.
Yeah.
So I hit like a feed up window. I did get into a few fish, like I had some spikes where I got a bunch of fish, but I'm hoping that I can get, I don't know, 1, 2 more weekends of solid fishing. And then if I have to put it, because after I start hunting, it's like, do I really want to
Right.
make the same thing we do with duck hunting? It's like, do I want to fish or do I want to hunt? Do I want to? And hunting is really honestly just to get me 3 more weekends closer to ice fishing.
Yeah, and I like for me, I'm lucky because we got the boat for the duck hunting, so I can just take my kayak and have it ready. It's in the trailer.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to go anywhere. So I'm pretty lucky with that. So I'll push it longer if I can, but again, if everybody's going duck hunting, and a lot of times if they need somebody else to drive one of the boats, that's what I'm good at. So
Yeah.
when there's both boats are going, I almost always have to go because I'm probably driving one of the boats. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of my motivation for getting my bass boat fixed is
yeah,
if I can get it, my goal is to save up enough money where I can bring it in the spring to the boat doctor when they're not going to be buried with
right.
work. There's going to be like, I'm trying to get them early enough where, because I pretty much know to an extent what I need, and it's just basically seals and everything.
Yep.
So if I bring it to them early enough, I want to get it to them before they start de-winterizing shit.
Right.
Before that boat thaw comes where everybody's trying to get their boats out of storage,
Yeah.
because that's when everybody starts bringing their boats in that are broken too. They start bringing their boats out of storage and then start bringing the boat doctor that they need to fix. So I want to get it. I'd like to ideally do some of my spawn fishing out of the boat,
Yeah.
because there's places
Mm.
like Carmi, Bombazine, St. Catherine that are bigger bodies of water where I can cover a lot more water with that boat. The problem is I won't be able to get the boat fixed and the new trolling motor upgraded, so I'll have to use the old one for a while. But my goal is like by mid-May have the boat fixed and upgraded to a spot lock trolling motor, because the freaking motor guide, it's literally motor guide like cable foot pedal.
Right.
So it's not fun to, I can do it, but it's a pain in the ass. If it's a
Yeah.
windy day, I don't get a break. Like I can't, I spend
Right.
more time trying to keep boat positioning. I actually can fish better out of my kayak on a windy day than I can my bass boat, because I can't
Right.
lock a
Yeah, that's
direction
what.
in and just go.
Yeah. 2 weekends ago in that bad wind, I was on the trolling motor the whole time, so everybody else was making 2 to 3 casts compared to my one.
Yep.
I'm trying to get positioning, and then one of them would make a cast where I was looking at going, but I had to get the boat ready, and then I'm like, So then it's tough when that wind's blowing.
Now,
But
do you have the foot pedal or do you have the remote, or do you use both?
no, I use the foot pedal. I've just been using it all my life. But I mean, that's with spot lock. That's with a Tarova
Yeah.
24 volt.
Yep.
But still, the wind was blowing that hard that day that at
Gotcha.
one point, and we can move with that 24 volt. And at one point, I had it at 7, and I was going backwards. I had to crank it all the way up to 10
Wow.
to make headway in the wind. That's how hard it was blowing.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
See, and that's why I want to get the 24 though, because as a general rule, that's not a problem.
right. Yeah, no, that I've never had it quite that bad, but and we knew it, and that's why we ended up going to actually Mallett's Bay that day just to stay out of the wind. And even then, in the bay, it was still that windy.
Yeah, because I'm gonna start with just the remote, because the freaking, weirdly enough, the one with the foot pedal is fucking way more expensive.
Yeah. Well, it comes
Which,
with both normally. I think at least ours have. When you buy the one with the foot pedal, it comes with the foot pedal and the remote.
yeah. So the thing is, what I found though is you can get the 24 volt with just the remote for
Yeah.
like 1,600 now.
Oh, nice.
So, and then it's
Shoot,
like
I can
two.
buy that for my kayak.
It's a little over $2,000 for the freaking one
Right.
with the. So it's like I'm gonna wait and get, because you can buy the foot pedal later. It's just a freaking cable plugs in, so it's not a
Yeah.
big deal. But I'm thinking I'm gonna start with just the remote, because I like the idea of the remote for if I wanted to troll too.
Yeah. Yeah,
because
Bart
I could.
loves the remote. I'm the other way around. I do it all with my foot.
Bobby does it with the remote, and I could see where he wears it on a lanyard,
Yeah.
and he just because I'm actually not a. It's going to be tricky because I'm used to I like you. I do the foot pedal thing. I'm used to
Right.
doing that, and I have the
Yes.
cable foot
Two
pedal
handed.
deal, and it's like I have to like. But I grew up doing the king salmon fishing thing, and we
Yeah.
had and I can't remember what the hell it's called, but we had the trolling motor for the big boat. We
Yeah.
had on a
Oh.
remote,
Yeah.
so I got used to doing that.
Yeah.
So we had because Dad had an inboard sport
Right.
craft, and we
Yeah.
had I think it's a Yamaha. I think it's a Yamaha 99 kicker
9-9. Yeah.
motor, right? It's
And I
one
had
of
the
the
auto pilot, auto steer, whatever that was called.
yeah. I can't remember what the hell it was, but
Auto
it's
bolt.
basically
Yeah.
a freaking it's a arm, but like when I was a kid, we had the outboard. You just basically had a clip that clipped to the big
Right.
motor, and you would turn the steering wheel for the big motor, and that turned the trolling
Right.
motor. For the inboards, you don't have that, and when it's not on, you can't turn the main motor.
Right.
So you have to have another steering, and it was just literally this thing that you just pushed up or down, and it would basically push an arm or pull an arm to turn the
Gotcha.
trolling motor.
Hydraulics.
So I got used to like doing that, and sometimes it was just me and Dad if Mom didn't want to go fishing. So
Right.
like there was times where like I had the controller over my shoulder, and I was like
Yeah.
doing that. So I kind of got used to doing that.
Yeah.
So I think I'll be okay to start. I think I eventually will want. Now, is your foot pedal wired or is it wireless? Or
Wired.
they have,
Wired.
is it wired?
Yeah.
See, I don't want the wireless one.
And you'll learn to use the autopilot part of it,
Yep.
the heading, whatever you want to call it, heading module. And that, I mean, I do that when I have a good break, I'll run that.
Yep.
The only problem with that is again, probably this is where the remote might be better. On the foot pedal, you can change the speed with a roller, just like your cable one.
Yep. Yep.
But when I do that, if I bump anything, it takes it out of that. So it's kind of a catch-22, So, and then finding that right speed, if on certain days you can find that right speed and dial it right in, but like the other day on that wind, I couldn't do it. So
I could see that. Yeah. And that's where like having one that has the digital steering where it actually locks in. Cause like
so nice.
the one I have now is like if I take my foot off, it's going to the left every time. It just immediately goes left. Like if I hook a fish, I have to basically be at the mercy of the lake or be on my shit and be able to like actually sit there and rock my foot while I'm fighting the fish because otherwise I'm just going to the left.
Right.
So being able to like reach down, tap a spot lock button or tap it on the pedal.
Yeah.
And be able to fight the fish and then do
and just the heading mode too. Like I'll do that. Like if I catch one and we're in an area and the wind's blowing me into that area, I'll turn that thing out, hit auto continuous rather than spot lock. Because spot lock, if the wind's blowing in, it's gonna snap the boat all the way around.
It's gonna spin you around.
Yeah. I'll spin it out, I'll point it away from me and hit it on the constant and let it push me stern out.
Yep.
And then I can fight the fish. And then as long as I know, I'll double check, make sure nothing's behind me. And then once it gets out there, then I'll bump it again and let it float. But
that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, that's all the stuff I've got to learn. The only problem I'm gonna have, the hardest part is gonna be wiring the fucking thing because it's like, and putting a bracket in.
Yeah.
Because
buy a wiring harness.
I'm gonna buy the harness for it. The problem I'm gonna have is I have to put the battery up front because I don't have a spot in the back. And the way they built the trackers, they give you a hole that's like this.
Yeah.
And they gave you a punch panel where your wiring goes. But then when you want to take your bracket off, you have to just like reach in there to take everything off.
Gotcha.
So you have to basically go in there with a socket wrench and do this because there's no way to get underneath the front deck other than that. So I'm going to have to do that. But and I want to get, because the idea I had is I'm going to get the quick connect bracket that Minn Kota has because eventually I will upgrade my rowboat to have that same bracket on the front, and then I can hot swap that motor.
Yeah, even though we don't take the trolling motors off other than once in a while during duck season, it's well worth the money.
I'm being called out.
Uh-oh.
Actually, 20
Well, get to
ish.
work. Be close.
No, it's gonna be. I'm paying off a bunch of credit card debt, and then that money that I'm now paying in
Yeah.
is going to become free and clear money next year, and that's what's it's going to be. It's going to be tricky to make that work, but I mean, I made a $3,000 kayak work, so I think I can
Right.
figure out how to make that work. But that's the plan, anyways. But yeah, it's 9:30.
Yeah.
Probably we've been going at this for an hour and a half. Um, we're gonna pick a new topic. So if you guys have any ideas for a topic, if you're still watching this video, put it in one of the comments of my videos, message me on Instagram, find Chris on Instagram or anywhere. If you guys want specific topic, let us know. We're trying to do more talk about specific things. One of the things I am going to do at some point soon is like specific baits that you can't live without, like specific, like not just like I can't live without a chatterbait, but I can't live without the chatterbait Evo half-ounce green pumpkin. Like
Gotcha.
get real specific on it, because I know I've got a couple that like every year I've even tried to get away from some baits and I end up just going right back because it's one I know is going to catch. So
Yeah.
the wacky rig that everybody gives me shit about using, because
I don't
it's
give a shit. I'm just never gonna do it.
it's funny because like that is a bait that like it's a 365 bait for me, and it's not for everybody.
No,
Like
well,
a lot of
in
people
our
stop using it.
tournament trail it is. No.
That's true. That's true. Yeah,
We're
I
one
mean,
of
I
the
know.
only. I don't know. Jason might not, but Nick and I are like the only ones that don't use it.
Yeah, I think
Even he was using it. I'm like, what are you doing using that? You make your own stuff, and you're still doing a
he
wacky.
was still using it. Yeah, but that's the thing is like it's a bait that like even in cold weather, even early season,
Oh,
late
cold weather
season,
it works.
it's what it is. It's just so fucking basic. It's just there's nothing to it. It's not threatening. Ned does the same thing.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
lot of
Watch
baits that do it.
Dave Mercer's Facts of Fishing. Watch his underwater footage, and you'll see why a wacky rig works. It's
Yeah.
just that it's that flutter that it
It's
does.
just it just looks alive enough and
Yeah,
non-threatening, and it's just easy kill for bass.
it looks like it's dying every
Yep.
time, and
Yep.
and they just, especially smallmouth, they just see it and they're like, oh,
Yep. It's why a jerk bait works, because it
yeah,
looks like a
exactly,
dying bait fish, and they're just like that's a free meal. They're
yeah,
hardwired to kill stuff that's already defenseless and dying.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
but yeah, guys, we'll probably end this right here. We'll probably have Jesse back next week. I don't know
Yeah, it depends how he does, and
how he's doing in the tournament. I don't know if he's coming back. I feel like this week is practice, and then I think the
it
tournament's
is.
not till next week.
No,
So
I think next week Thursday is first day of the tournament. I think.
okay.
I can't remember, but I think
So
that.
we may be able to keep him up a little bit before the tournament, but he may need his beauty rest to be able to get out there and compete with the big boys out there. So,
Right. Yeah.
but either way, we'll be back next Wednesday and every Wednesday from now until roughly Mother's Day
There you
is
go.
my goal. So pretty much right until Chris beats me in the first tournament, and then I'm mad about it. Then we're gonna stop doing the podcast for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, I didn't get a first all year, so I don't want to hear it.
I'm determined to try to move back up, but Jesse's actually going to be doing so. It's all three of us are going to be in the tournaments too, which is
Oh,
going to be fun
nice. That'll be good.
because he just didn't get signed up in time. He was going to do it this year, so
Yeah.
it's all three of us, and he'll be a solo too.
Oh,
So
will it?
yeah, I debated if Bear backs out on me. I've debated teaming up with Jesse.
Yep.
And that might be what happens if Bear can't do it and can't commit to it. I might just team with Jesse.
Yep.
Because I think between the two of us, I'll be honest, the dude's kind of a hammer. So teaming up with him
Right.
means it's one less position I have to be
Oh, true,
behind.
right. Yeah.
It's one less guy I have to compete with if he's on my team.
Right.
But I kind of like fishing solo too, though. Like I don't know, I have a specific way of fishing, and you've seen how much water I cover. And when I'm with a
Right.
teammate, sometimes I get like I can't do what I want to do because I'm like, why are you still fucking back there?
Right.
So, but
Once
But
in a
yeah,
while, I
guys,
have this to Nick and he goes one way, and I'm like, "Hey, get over here."
I've literally hollered at Bear and been like, "Where the fuck are you going, dude?" And he's like, "I'm over here." And I'm like, "You're gonna get us in trouble because we're so far apart at this point. Now I can't fish till I catch back up to you."
Right.
So, but yeah, guys, we will see you guys in a week, and definitely send me suggestions on what you guys want for topics, bait suggestions. I mean, we'll do everything from tying knots. I don't really care, and I know Chris is just as technical and nerdy as I am and loves talking. So, if you
Right.
guys want us to do our favorite color crankbait video, we'll figure out a way to make content for you guys. So, but yeah, we're gonna end it right here, guys. We will see you next week.